spectacular sight, a spectacular ship. I'm Brian Moore, and this is Focus NNS. We're here high above the North Yard with Big Blue, the crane, as a backdrop. It's recently undergone a makeover. We'll show you that. It's also the place where Gerald R. Ford CBN 78 was built. The Ford is making big news lately with its recent shock trials. We'll take you there. Plus, getting back to normal after COVID. The mobile experience trailer gets back on the road. And it's all about the training as the city of Newport News and Newport News Shipbuilding come together for the first time ever on board a new construction ship to tackle some worst case scenarios just in case. Those stories and some changes ahead for Focus NNS. But first on deck, the USS Gerald R. Ford undergoes full ship shock trials off the East Coast. The first-in-class aircraft carrier tested to withstand battle conditions. But not all tests are done at sea. Arlena Wallace has an inside look at the shock trials that shipbuilders performed inside the gates.
Here in the lab, shipbuilders use this lightweight shock machine to test parts identical to those on ships. It's a smaller scale version of what's happening at sea. A series of live explosives, the nation's newest warship, USS Gerald R. Ford, withstands shock trials. The Navy's first full ship shock trials for an aircraft carrier in more than 30 years. On a smaller scale, shipbuilders test some parts identical to those on the ship in a lab.
So it's important to test these products because you don't want them to fail at sea. It'd be a lot harder to fix it there, but it also compromises the safety of the individuals on the ship. So we're testing it here in the yard.
A hit to an enclosed circuit breaker.
So we'll end up striking the item in different orientations and at different elevations.
My team is the data acquisition team. Every run that they do, we're collecting the data to see if the breaker is tripped. So I think it's pretty cool and I'm learning a lot.
Consider this. USS Theodore Roosevelt was the last aircraft carrier to withstand full-scale shock trials in 1987. Now, advancements in parts as reports are sent to the Navy for final approval. USS Gerald R. Ford is expected to come back to Newport News Shipbuilding for modernizations and repairs. For Focus NNS, I'm Lena Wallace. Back to you, Brian.
All right, Lena, thank you so much for that. An amazing story, an amazing ship, and a proud day for Newport News Shipbuilding and the United States Navy. Now, let's take a look at some other news from around the yard. Newport News Shipbuilding remembers Senator John Warner. The former Secretary of the Navy was a staunch supporter of Newport News Shipbuilding and was a significant force in championing the Virginia-class submarine program and the teaming arrangement with General Dynamics Electric Boat. The USS John Warner, SSN 785, was also named for him. His wife Jeannie is the sponsor of the submarine, and they were both on hand for the christening ceremony in September of 2014. The USS John Warner is the 12th boat of the class and the second of the Block 3 Virginia-class submarine program. Senator Warner was 94. He will be missed. Well, nothing goes untouched when it comes to overhauling our Navy ships. That includes the anchors. Shipbuilders and sailors from USS John C. Stennis, CBN 74, removed two 30-ton anchors in June as part of the 74's refueling and complex overhaul. The anchors will be stripped and repainted while the massive chains and links are inspected for any needed replacements or repairs. Once that work is complete, the anchor will go back to Stennis for reinstallation. Well, Big Blue is an iconic part of the Newport News Shipbuilding and Newport News skyline, and it's recently undergone a makeover. Newport News Shipbuilding's 1050 metric ton crane in the North Yard, also known as Big Blue, now has newly painted letters and NNS and Huntington Ingalls Industries logos. Contractors scraped, primed, and painted the main girder of the crane on both sides. It's back on the road for Newport News Shipbuilding's Mobile Experience MX trailer. The mobile unit showcases integrated digital shipbuilding technology and returned to service last month at a Career Day event at the Rosemont Boys and Girls Club in Virginia Beach. Except for a few internal NNS events, the trailer has been idle since the COVID-19 pandemic. But no more, it's back, and kids are again learning about careers, shipbuilding, and technology like laser scanning and augmented reality.
I feel good. I feel like it's helping me about shit.
I think it's a great opportunity. It's very informative to know about and, you know, open your options up to it.
First event, I think it's a good thing, finally be able to get back out, get people coming through the trailer, use this thing and show them all the different things we got going on. I don't think people realize all the different technologies that we're utilizing at Newport News Shipbuilding. So it's nice to be able to get back out and show them what we're doing.
First responders are an important part of all of our communities, and they are a vital part of Newport News Shipbuilding. Recently, some of them underwent some specialized training on board one of our newest aircraft carriers under construction in the yard. Aaron Pritchett joins us now to take a look at the best of the best being put to the test.
Your worst day is their day-to-day, and they work hard 365 days a year because your life depends on it. Firefighter medics and EMTs in communities all across this country, and even those inside the gates of Newport News Shipbuilding, are committed to taking the necessary actions to rise to the occasion to answer the call to whatever may be thrown their way. So they train and they train and they constantly train so they can be at their very best. But when it comes to shipboard emergencies, well, they're a challenge like no other. And that is why the Newport News Shipbuilding Fire Department recently conducted a very special joint training exercise with the City of Newport News Fire Department for the very first time ever on board a new construction ship. And in this case, John F. Kennedy's CVN 79, so they could put their collaborative skills and techniques to the ultimate test.
Thanks everyone for coming out today. I really do appreciate it. This has been a long time in the effort. I tried to get this last year. COVID obviously put an end to it. So I'm very thankful for you guys being able to cooperate and come in. We have been given access to CVN 79. So new construction, so just so everyone is aware, we're gonna be on main deck. We have to pre-stage. Real emergency, you guys aren't gonna be following us in. We're already gonna be on scene.
So we are doing integrated mutual training between us and the municipality. So Newport News Fire Department is our #1 mutual aid provider. So we've talked about a lot in the past about having them come in here and do some integrated training with us to see how we work together. It's easy to talk about, have tabletops and say this is what we're going to do. Until you get into the situation, the heat of the battle, you're really not going to understand or know the flow. We all kind of have the same training in the sense that we know how to integrate it. Not everyone is going to do everything 100% the same, but as soon as you have someone that you says you're in command, everyone knows we're listening to that guy. He's got our lives in his hands. He's going to give us the directions. So that's what we do.
We're not very familiar with these ships. This is a new class of aircraft carrier. Now, I worked here in the 80s, so I have some ship knowledge. We just need to really know where we're going, and when they're building one of these, things change almost daily. It's familiarity with the ship systems, our systems, and how to integrate it all to solve a problem.
Safety aspect, NFPA guidelines, we're required to do a safety walkthrough. And this is real life. I mean, you're going to have pipes popping out of the wall. I took every single one of the firefighters as well as the officers and walked them through the space with the lights on, clear visibility so they could see what they were working with. Once you turn the lights off, there's smoke in there. You may think you know the layout, but it's quick to forget.
Doing this on a ship with outside agencies that typically don't fight fire on a ship is a little bit different because they get a respect for what we do on a daily basis, and we get respect for what they do because the way they fight fire, the way we fight fire are two different things. They're a little more aggressive because they're in a structure, 2-3 story house maybe. They can get out, however they need to, windows, doors. We don't have that luxury.
There's been some high-profile incidents in the last several years as far as fires aboard Navy vessels. And there's been a push in the last couple of years to integrate the municipal fire departments that surround naval installations to familiarize them with ship construction, ship operations, ship personnel, and anything we have to do to mitigate an incident.
So important, because if there was a real emergency, one agency's not going to handle it. And even though we have many more people, we still couldn't come here and figure anything out. Because they have all different rules, different security, different ways of getting around, tools stashed places, different protocols for things. It's a really neat place, and it's really neat to get to work with them in a training evolution like this. And all these guys are great. Like I said, we know a lot of them, but it's nice to be able to train them.
This is as close to the real thing without it being the real thing as we can get. And we try to make it that way so that way there is a real fire that we are best equipped to handle it. The only thing missing from this evolution is the fire, the heat, and actual water, because we're trying not to damage any progress on the ship.
Visibility is really bad. We did allow them to use their TICs, which are thermal imaging cameras, which do an excellent job of being able to lay out and basically see through anything. You know, we have someone that's down, that's the number one priority for us. Number two priority becomes the fire attack. We had a simulated fire in there with the LED screen, which we used weighted hose to simulate having a pressurized line, because we're not allowed to pressurize water on the vessel. So, and the nozzles that we have, they're expensive nozzles that we got. They're laser, they hit the screen. If they hit the targets the way they're supposed to, the base of the fire, then the fire will go out on its own. And weighted dummies as well, yes. We had one that weighs probably about 110 pounds. The other one we have weighs about 195, 200 pounds.
That's how we train ourselves to be fast, efficient, calm under pressure. So we get in there, do the best we can, get out, and it's super helpful to practice in a space we've never seen before. Because we always go to our training center. We know that space like I could do it in my sleep. It's a totally different job. Same idea, all the stuff they train for is different. So you just never know. You never know what could happen, and we will be worlds ahead of the people who haven't gotten to come train if we ever did make it down here. So I hope it does continue. I love being here and training with these people.
And although this simulated training exercise was contained to a very small portion of the ship, it just goes to show you how big of a responsibility these firefighters have in responding to any and all situations on board a ship if one ever arises. For FocusNNS, I'm Aaron Pritchett. Back to you, Brian.
All right, some hardworking people there. Great story, Aaron. Thank you so much for that. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, there are some changes coming to FocusNNS. This will be my last show, as I will be heading here to Huntington Ingalls Industries corporate office as Communications Director. I'm excited about the next steps in my career and glad I'm just heading down the street, but it is a bittersweet move, as I love the shipyard and I love bringing you the amazing stories of the shipbuilders here on FocusNNS. It is truly an honor and a privilege to tell your stories and showcase the incredible work you, the shipbuilders of Newport News Shipbuilding, do every single day with such dedication and drive. I am always amazed at the work and innovation and determination of shipbuilders. There is truly nothing you can't do. I truly believe that. And I'm also proud of my team and the people who work so hard to bring you FocusNNS month after month. I'm leaving FocusNNS in the capable hands of Aaron Pritchett and Lena Wallace, who you all know. They are talented and dedicated shipbuilders, and I am certain they will continue to produce a quality show that will feature the people, products, and pride of Newport News Shipbuilding. Thank you for your feedback and support over the years. It has been great. So it's not goodbye, as I'm not going far, but it is so long for now. Thank you. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of FocusNNS. Remember, check out our weekly publication Currents for the latest shipyard news and download our free app, NNS To Go. It's available in the Google and Apple stores on your smartphones and tablets. And don't forget to watch FocusNNS on city TV and cable channels across the great state of Virginia. Stations like NNTV in Newport News, Virginia. So, for one last time, thanks so much for watching. I'm Brian Moore.